There's one piano method that I use more than any other. This is my favorite series of method books, and I have tried a ton, and there are others that I still use, but I come back to this one again and again. It's called Piano Safari, and a lot of people hear me talking about it or mentioning things from it and ask me what's special about it. Why do I love it? What makes it different? And there are so many different aspects that it's often hard to write back to these people on Facebook or in emails. And that's why I want to make this video, just to give you a tour of what I love about Piano Safari. Now, quick disclaimer, Piano Safari don't know I'm making this video. Catherine and Julie are not paying me to say this, nor have they ever paid me to do anything. I just love their books, and I want to show you what makes them special to me. So we've got the main series here, and this is what I use with a lot of students, most students under the age of 9, let's say. Although they have a new method out for older students, and I've yet to try that. I'm excited to try that one out with older students. But 9 years old and under, I'll tend to use Piano Safari unless I have a reason not to. Now, the way it's structured, the reading is a lot slower than you might be used to. And I get why some people step back a little bit when they see that. The way Piano Safari approaches reading, though, isn't about speed of playing pieces from reading them. It's about really fantastic reading skills that last forever, and that's why I love it. Now, they balance this with having rote pieces. That's how they get away with it, get away with going at this slow pace. A lot of other method books, they tend to rely on some kind of crutch or other, often playing in C position or middle C position, so that the student gets to play real music fast. And that's really important, but it doesn't have to happen through reading. And that's the magic of Piano Safari, because they have the rote pieces, which sound fantastic, and I'll show you one of those in a second. They can do this reading at a slow, steady, methodical pace. Students are still happy with it. They make fantastic progress, and they end up being wonderful readers who really understand the bones of music. Now, the rote pieces are the magic, as I say, and that's what allows them to take this time over reading. One of the rote pieces in the beginning section is called King of the African Drum. And this is one I point to quite often because it goes way down the bottom of the piano. It explores this whole bottom section that normally students wouldn't touch for ages. It sounds amazing. It sounds epic. And it only is using 2 fingers, and it's in the first unit of the book. It goes like this. Now, and yes, the student is using the pedal, so it sounds amazing, right? And that's at the very start of the book. So we don't have to worry about them playing these amazing sounding things through reading, and we can take the time. They take a whole unit to work on steps, just off 2 landmark notes, that's treble G and bass C, and then a whole unit to work on skips. And then the final unit of book 1 is working on steps and skips combined. So they don't combine them even when they're working on skips, they work on just skips. And this really pays off in the long run. It's so worth it. Now, book 1 is actually really a primer plus book 1 in a normal series. So if you can think about it like that, it helps clarify and it helps explain why it's a little bit more expensive than other method books might be. But you haven't got a bunch of books. You've got just this for level 1. The other thing you might want is the sight reading cards, and I'd say you do want them. They're fantastic. This is what sight reading cards A look like. So there's 5 units in book 1, and there's A to E would be correlating with book 1 for sight reading. And these work on reading 1 hand at a time in the first level, and just finger numbers in the very first level, level A. and then they work on rhythm at the bottom of the sight reading cards. They're a great way to focus in on reading, intervals, and getting students to mark in those intervals and see the ups and downs and the movement and notice the patterns in music, which is so vital. As we get into book 2, we get to explore lots more music, and eventually during book 2, I would say, is where the rote pieces start to be less rote. We start to read them a bit and the levels start to even out. So they get there with the evening out of the reading and the rote, but having both aspects along the way really helps with student motivation, with what they're able to play, and with their overall development. Let me show you one of my favourite rote pieces from book 2. This is called Shadows at Dusk. Now they don't say that's with pedal, I've just added that in, and I encourage students to do it if and as they're able to do the pedal changes that would be necessary in that piece. But it sounds beautiful and mysterious and wonderful, and especially students who like minor key pieces, which we know a lot of our students do, love that one. But they love all the pieces in Piano Safari. It really is full of wonderful music like that, that's so rich and can explore so many different things, black keys, white keys, all over the piano, because they have that rote element. The other reason I love Piano Safari, the other big thing about it, is the technique. The way they handle technique is, well, it's in the name of the book. It's in terms of animals. The first one being the line pull, which is just about falling into the key with a heavy arm weight. The next one, well, they've switched around lately in the newest series, but then they start to explore Tall Giraffe, which is non-legato with strong fingertips. Then we've got Zachariah Zebra to work on the strong fingertips again and the bouncy arm. There's actually a rest between those, but you get the idea. And they continue to add on animals in this way to explore technique. They delay legato until towards the end of book 1, which really helps to establish the arm weight, all the other stuff that we need to be there, the round hand shape, the strong fingertips, the wrist at the right height, sitting correctly, all that stuff. If you delay legato just that little bit, it does help a lot with that. And then they introduce it with something called Tree Frog, which has a bounce to it. And Tree Frog has sticky feet, so that's where he bounces up and down. If you want to see more of Piano Safari in action, you should definitely check out my Quick Clips series here on the Colourful Keys channel, because that shows my actual teaching and I use Piano Safari a lot, so you'll see it really in action with students. If you don't want to jump into the method, but you like the sound of this rote stuff and the technique, but you want to use your reading method, fine. There's still a way to do that. So they have these books. This one is called Animal Adventures, and then there's also 2 pattern pieces books. So these are just, the pattern pieces are the rote ones, and the Animal Adventures is what you want if you want just the technique. And that includes improvisation activities to do with the animal exercises, as do the books. Improvisation is included throughout, and it's just a wonderful way to bring technique to your students that they can really get behind, because it's based on animals, it's all interactive, it's story based, and it has that wonderful sense of play that I love bringing into my lessons. So those are the main reasons. I could go on and on, as you see, but those are the main reasons I love Piano Safari. Make sure you check out their website for lots of other great information. They can tell you more about it there. And watch the Quick Clips series, like I say, because you'll see it in action in my studio. I hope you enjoyed this, guys. If you have any questions about Piano Safari, leave them in the comments below, and make sure you subscribe while you're here.